Hey bro, how are you? Today, I slept like a boss. No babies waking me up. Ain't no baby gonna wake this boy up. Slept well, feel energized, ready to take on this day. Gonna go to the gym right now, take a workout in. I'm gonna be hitting the chest and the back and the shoulders and the biceps. And it's gonna feel good because I rested well, and that makes the hugest difference so far in my experience of working out now for the massive 2 years, the whole 2 years that I've been doing this this workout stuff. I feel like it's rest. It's really rest that helps me to push the bar. And I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, to be honest, with work. There's just a lot piling up. You probably know this feeling of just, there's so much to do, there's so much to get going. I've got the kids to feed, I've got money to make, I've got a wife to keep happy, I've got projects going on, I've got so many people I'm coaching, so many men that I'm mentoring and helping, and I am not gonna let it get to me. I'm not gonna be that guy that's like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm gonna go and isolate myself. And I've done that so many times in my life, and I'm just done with it. I don't want to be that guy that just gets overwhelmed. So I've decided to be logical and linear about this, and I'm going to attack one thing at a time. I'm going to list everything I need to get done, all the projects. I'm going to order them in priority of what needs to get done, and then I'm going to sit down for a good 4 hours today. I'm just going to bash those projects. I'm just going to get them done. I have like a little timer on my laptop. So it's a timer app that I put, and I can make timers for like 1 hour, 30 minutes, however long I think the project's gonna take to finish. And then I have this big timer on my screen that kind of follows me around. And it's a constant reminder that I need to focus and I need to get it done. There's actually a principle that is used that I learned from Tim Ferriss many years ago, that if you actually give yourself a time and you allocate amount of time, you're more likely to do more and to get it done faster, because you're under a constraint of time. So I do that, and it's been a lifesaver, because then it's exciting, this work. Then it's not like, oh, I have to drag my feet and I procrastinate. It's like, all right, timer's on, go. And I just bust out the emails, I bust out the message responses, I bust out designing whatever I'm designing or whatever it is, and communications. And that is how I've been doing it, okay? Going to the gym, I'm kind of concerned about, there's like at the back of my mind this feeling of like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know. As a man, it's such a prevalent thing that I face, and I think it's, maybe if you can relate, it's because I'm trying to get my body fat percentage down to like 15%. Under 15%, I will be happy, and I will say, okay, now I'm gonna bulk. Now I'm ready to bulk, and I can put the mass back on and put the little fat back on. Currently, I'm standing at like 20, I want to say like 23, 24%, which is a lot in my book. And there's, at the back of my mind, I'm like, can I do this? Is it even possible? Because I've never done it before. I've never gotten that low in my body fat percentage ever in my whole life. So I don't know if I can. And so I'm thinking, am I even biologically, physically possible to do that, or genetically possible? Is it even possible? So if you guys know, let me know. I'm posting some shirtless stuff here on the videos, and it's not something I do all the time. I'm not that guy that goes to the gym and like takes my shirt off and flexes in the mirror. I don't feel comfortable doing that. I actually wish I was. I wish I was a guy that could just like put my tripod up in the gym, do my bicep flexes and chest flexes and do my workouts and talk to the camera about what I'm doing. I haven't gotten over that yet. Maybe it's a bit of insecurity, but honestly, I'm just rather considerate. I think I'm a considerate person. Think about this. I'm half Japanese and half British. My father is Japanese. My mother is British. Two of the arguably most considerate, polite countries and cultures in the world, and that is me. That runs through my veins. My ancestors are screaming, what are you doing in America? You can't do that. You can't go in the mirror and flex in front of people in the gym. For some reason, my ancestors have a southern accent. Anywho, so that's kind of my insecurity there, is like, I don't know if I can do it. If you guys are fitness professionals are having the experience of getting low body fat, like under 15%, let me know what it takes to get there. From what I understand and what I'm going to be doing, my plan is being consistent with the lifts, but more importantly, the diet. Of course, like the lifts is only going to get you to a certain extent, but it's more the nutrition that's going to get you the body fat lower. Or just take drugs, TRT, steroids, that works too. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I don't even know where to get that shit. Like, people on the internet are talking about TRT and steroids and stuff. I don't even know where to get that stuff. So I'm not even gonna like entertain the idea of putting something into my body, because I've gotten far. Like, I've gotten far so far in just the last few years with my progress. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep that going. And my plan in terms of diet is continue to do the intermittent fasting, which is fasting basically about 20 hours. I have a 4-hour window that I will eat dinner and basically anything I can stuff my face with, anything that is around me. As soon as I get home, I'm like, what can I eat that is not my children? Like anything, I will just put in my face. And so my calorie deficit it's about 500 to 1,000. I want to say it's average like 700, 800 deficit calories. And then I'm hitting the gym every day as well. So that's my trajectory, and that's what I'm going to be doing for the next 3 months, and then seeing week by week how I progress in terms of body fat. And the goal is not to lose muscle mass as much as possible. And so by keeping the workouts going, stimulating the muscles, and just keeping the muscles under tension enough to not let them, die away with the calorie deficit, I think I'm doing pretty good. And so I've never had problem maintaining muscle. Like, I can go a few weeks or a month without workout, like traveling, and still come back to the gym and put the weight on, like put the, lift the amount of weight that I left with. So that's what we're doing. Then we're going to go to work today. What I'm excited to share with you guys is actually having a few coaching calls with husbands. So there's 2 young husbands that I'm coaching, and they were just married recently in the last few years, and they're going through some struggles or internal turmoil because they want to be fantastic, godly men and husbands, and they want to have children, they want to be fathers, but they're weighed down by the reality of lack of sexual integrity, which means that they want to be someone that doesn't spend time on the internet going through TikTok and Instagram and watching porn and masturbating whenever they want. They don't want to be that. That's not the person they want to be, right? But the reality is that that's the person they brought into their marriage, okay? And that's a really hard reality to face. That's a reality that I faced when I first got married. I was really hit hard with that temptation. And I dealt with it, right? And so I know exactly the mindset and the actions that people need to beat this, especially after you're in a relationship. And so I'm going to be coaching these guys and helping them get their act together and figure out what are the things that they can do in their lives to guarantee success with eliminating the root issue as to why they want to act out, even though they're in a healthy sexual relationship. That's the thing. People are in healthy sexual relationships and they're confused because they're like, I thought when I was married, this would go away. I thought when I was in a relationship, this would go away. The reality is, as long as you are spending any time on social media, all right, and I'll make a statement that is probably not agreed upon by most. If you're staying on social media to any extent, you're going to eventually be led down the rabbit hole of watching that one chick, checking out that one profile, going to that one website, and then before you know it, you are dragged back down to a session with porn and masturbating. It's guaranteed, I promise you. And even if you're able to backtrack and say, I'm not going to do it, I'm just going to, is that really the man you want to be? It's not the man I want to be, because I'm just walking the line of porn by just checking out girls on Instagram, and that's it. It's softcore stuff. It's not real porn. Is it the person I want to be? No. Is it the person I want to be as a married individual? No. As a father? No. That's not it. And so this is the dilemma that people face, all right? This is where integrity comes into place, because integrity means my values and my actions are the same. My words and my actions are the same. If you are a man of standard, if you're a man of moral code and of faith, it means you have a standard in your life. And this is why religious people of men are more susceptible in many ways to developing addictive behaviors. Why? because we feel something called shame and guilt and remorse and this kind of feeling of shadows and like a dark cloud that is constantly over our head, because we feel if somebody knew the truth about me, I would be unloved and disgraced. I would be disowned. That is a hard feeling to have. So you can have two people that have the same habit, the same addiction, the same behavior. One person is devoutly religious and the other person is devoutly atheistic, agnostic even, has no moral value or code or any kind of moral standard when it comes to sexual things, let's say. You can have two of the same people, the same habit, the same addiction. Who's going to struggle more with quitting the addiction? It's the person with the high standard. And why is that? Because we tend to beat ourselves up. We tend to be hard on ourselves. We tend to have feelings of, oh, because I made this one mistake, I'm doomed to a lifetime of mediocre living. I'm doomed to never finding a spouse. I'm doomed. And what comes with that is the shame, the remorse, and what comes with that is the spiraling. That's where people go, oh, I did it once, I might as well just give in. I might as well just go down that path because I've already done it. But if someone has no real like moral standard, it's just like, okay, like it's fine, it's normal, everyone's doing it, right? So many people will make the wrong conclusion, and they'll say, well, if you feel that shame, why don't you just lower your standard? Why don't you just become a non-religious person? And people blame religion, they blame faith, they blame God, and they say it's because of religions that people are struggling with this stuff. That's what they do. It's the wrong conclusion, all right? Because what you're doing is you're asking people to lower their standard. And when you lower your standard, that is not what integrity means. Integrity, my friends, my brother, integrity is when your actions and the words are the same, no matter what, no matter what. And so if you can honestly look in the mirror and say, I am living with full integrity with who I want to be, the man that I pretend to be, the man that I tell people I am, that I act like, if you can honestly say that, good on you. But the vast majority of men today, these days, don't feel that, because to some extent, all of us are living that life. And am I flawless in my integrity? Am I perfect? I don't think so. But I know when I'm lacking it. It's like a muscle or skill that I've developed. I know that when I'm feeling something's off. Like when I make these videos and I rewatch it and I can tell, it's like that thing I said, it doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like something that I inspire to be like. And if it's not, then I'll cut it out. It's like, that's not me. And I think it's an antenna that you develop, right? And that is how God created us to be, is to be people that have integrity all the time. Okay, so we're going to the gym because I want to have integrity with my fitness, and I hope that you'll join with me. Do subscribe to this channel and join me, because I need you guys. Like I've said before, I really am on a mission. I need to be a man of God, and I need to help other men do the same, because if I don't, I know that in the next decades to come, our culture is going to struggle. We're going to see a massive decline in men of integrity. But the people that are willing to stay on this ship and be the captains of their own ship, those are the men that will prevail. Those are the men that will have children and family and teach their children moral values. Those are the lineages that will survive the oncoming storms and flood that will wipe out most people. All right, if you think about it logically. Elon Musk has been talking about this for a long time. He has stated that population collapse is the single greatest threat to humanity. Elon Musk, guys, the guy, Mr. Future himself has said this. And if you think about it logically, the population collapse is a impending threat, catastrophe that's going to wipe out the entire world. I believe that. I see it. I foresee it 100%. And there's clear science to back this up. We're in a huge decline in terms of birth rates. But the exciting thing is, the ones that will survive, the fittest, survival of the fittest, will be the ones that prioritize family, marriage, having children, and raising those children in a godly environment that passes on good values to their children. And unfortunately, the sad part is that we are going to see billions of lineages that will be just eradicated, raptured from this world because of their own decisions of, oh, I don't want to prioritize, I don't want to find a spouse, I don't need that, I don't need a woman, I don't need a man, I don't need kids, I'm going to work and I'm going to just make money and live in my camper van with my husband, and that's all I'm going to do. And that's fine, and that's great. That's good for them. Like, I have no judgment to them. A little bit of judgment, but a little judgment helps a little bit sometimes. But in the end, it's about what do you want. And if that's what you want, that's good for you. Like, this is why I'm doing this. If that's what you want, if you want to live a life by yourself and not have, like, that's fine. Like, I love you. I love you. I do. I know I love you, and I know God loves you. But if you're somebody that wants to live a life with family and values and children and God and faith, but you're weighed down by opposing forces and opposing cultural wars, that's where I'm going to step in. I'm going to help you. All right. Because I know how to deal with this stuff. There's a really interesting podcast. You should listen to podcasts about population collapse, the risk of the humanity being wiped out by population collapse. It's so interesting. And there's one statistic that was really, really mind-blowing to me that I heard in a podcast. And that is that 80% of women that didn't have children wanted to have children. 80% of women that did not have kids and they grew up, they wanted to have children, but they just didn't have the right opportunity, the right spouse, the right timing, and they were more focused on prioritizing other things like career, like money, like that kind of thing. So the proof is in the data that it's not that people don't want to have kids. That's not what's going on. It's that people do want to have kids, but there's a shift in priority. And so by the time they do settle down and say, okay, now I'm ready for kids, it's too late. It's too late. The biological clock is wiped out and they can't have children. So it's not that people are just like, I don't want to have kids. It's like most people do. The vast majority of people do want to have children. They just aren't prioritizing it. And that's the reality, okay? So the sad part is that that's the reality we live in. And I think that's men's fault, by the way. This is not women's fault. This is absolutely men's fault. If men stand up and be courageous and strong and bold and stand up for themselves and what they believe, then women are drawn to that. Polar opposites attract. Remember that, guys. Polar opposites attract, and the more you lean into and step into your masculine role as a man, the more a woman will look at you and be like, wow, I'm attracted to that. And the more you will be attracted to a true woman, a genuine feminine woman, the more you become a man. And that's how you will enjoy being with each other. You'll stop butting heads and clashing, because if you put two negatives together, you will clash. Two positives together, you will clash. It's positive and negative. It's yin and yang that attract. They attract each other. And it's beautiful. It's how God created things. Everything in the universe is yin and yang. Everything is masculine and feminine. And when you play into your role as a man and think, how can I be more masculine? How can I be a true man? And what exactly does that mean? How do I be God's true essence of masculinity? And the more you do that, the more you will realize, wow, the true women that you are attracted to are not the Instagram fitness models that are hustling. No. The true woman you will be attracted to, if you are a true man, is a woman that will be drawn to you and say, I want to be with you and I want to have your children. Okay? And I want to be on this mission to you and I want to support you and I want to be the maintenance of your ship, of the ship that you are captaining. I want to maintain it and I want to take care of it so that you can drive this ship. And that's what I'm doing in my family. And I have seen it in real life and I've seen it in the men that I work with. And I just want to let you know, guys, that you absolutely can do it. It's just a matter of putting in the work and believing that you can. It's a belief thing, 100%. Get off social media, get off that shit. You don't need it. It's not helping you. Let's hit the gym. Let's do it. Today, supersets of chest biceps. First, do handstands, warm up the shoulders, triceps, and also gets the core good, and also back especially. And then supersets of press, curl, 4 sets each. That's it. It's literally 30 minutes of workouts, and it is quite simple. Okay, let's get to work. If you could identify what you feel like, just like your gut reaction, what is the single roadblock that's blocking you from growing into the man that you want to be?
And I'll tell you, just from what you've shared so far, I think what you struggle with is you feel how do I say this? You feel lesser than. I know that. I can see it on your face. I should be more. I should be doing this. I should be doing this. Whatever. That feeling is called shame. That's what it is. I should be more. I should be doing this. I should not be like this. Feeling of shame. And so what comes with shame is a feeling of unworthy. And we can dig into your past and we can find all the experiences in your life where you felt disappointed by your parents because you made a mistake, because you hurt your siblings, whatever. We don't need to go there though. And I'll tell you why. Because there's a certain extent where you just get it. People are way overly focused on understanding my past and my childhood and my inner child. And there's a certain extent where you just get it. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, somebody was disappointed in us. Somebody was unloving to us. Usually it's a parent. And then we learn through many experiences like that I can't make mistakes. Because if I do, someone will be disappointed in me. And I'll be unloved. I'll be unworthy. And that's why you have these feelings. Like I just solved you hundreds of hours of counseling and therapy. Everyone's the same. You felt pain when you were a child because someone was disappointed in you, right? And now you feel unworthy and scared. The thing is, that's not true. It's not true. And I think you know that because you know that God loves you. And the more you experience that, of just knowing that, you know what, I'm afraid, but I'm going to take action. I make mistakes, but I'm still loved. I'm still worthy. I'm still capable. And the more you know that and feel that and have confidence in that, the more nothing will stop you. You'll stop having these feelings of, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy. You'll stop feeling that. And so the name of the game here, what we're doing here in this program is we're trying to help you reaffirm to yourself that you are loved. And I know how cheesy that sounds, but it's like, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's like, do we feel God in our lives?
All right, son, we are done with the day. Work day, gonna go home now and chill with the family. Kiss my wife, say hello to the kids. A common theme that has been creeping up in almost every call today and last week has been fear of failure. I don't think people are afraid of failure. I think what people are truly afraid of is looking like a failure, is looking and being perceived by the amorphous parent or God or whoever in our lives that we place as the ultimate authority in our lives. And we're afraid of disappointment and approval of our friends, of our community, and that's what keeps us from taking action. It's not fear of failure, it's fear of looking like a failure, all right? And so I like to take everyone and myself through a simple exercise of what is the absolute worst that can happen, all right? And so I was in a conversation with a guy recently, and he was asking himself, why is it that I want to be in a relationship, I want to find a partner and get married, but I'm stuck because I'm afraid of reaching out, I'm afraid of taking action, I'm afraid of putting myself out there, okay? So I asked him, okay, so that's what you want, and you're not taking any action to get there. That's the opposite of courage. And you know what the opposite of courage is? You said it, not me. It's cowardice. It is being a coward. And I don't want to be a coward, I want to be courageous. So I asked him, what is the absolute worst case scenario? And take me through it. And he's like, well, I get in the process of communicating with someone and they don't like me. And they think I'm ugly. And they hate my guts, right? And I was like, okay, that's not the worst case scenario. And I was like, tell me the absolute worst case scenario. Be creative, my friend. And he was like, all right, we get into a relationship. It's based in nothing really meaningful, internal. It's all external, physical. It's just infatuation, and we're blinded by our own physical infatuation. We get in a relationship, we get married, we have a lot of children, and we fall out of love because our relationship was not based in any substance. It was not based in God and faith. It was based in what we just felt in the moment. All right. And I was like, okay, and then what? And he's like, well, we divorce, we split up, our children are left fatherless, parentless, broken home, and I'm left alone. Okay, then what? Where would you go? He's like, well, I would go to my parents and I would try to get their support, and I would try again, right? And I was like, okay, then what? And he's like, well, I would find a partner that shares my values, maybe shares my experience, has the same experience. I wouldn't make the same mistakes. And then the important question, the reason we're doing this exercise is ask yourself, is it really that bad? In other words, can you make peace with the worst case scenario? Can you make peace with the absolute worst thing that could happen? And he was like, yeah, I would make it work.
And so this is important because, number one, the worst case scenario is not that bad, guys, if you really put yourself out there. If everyone in your family disowns you and is disappointed in you and you fail miserably on your face and everyone hates your guts, not that bad. You can manage. You will make peace with that and you will be happy in the end. And the other reason this exercise is important is because it's mostly largely unfounded fears that are just fabrications of our imagination. We tell ourselves that this will happen, this will happen. And I asked him, this one guy, this young brother, and I said, is that actually going to happen? Are you somebody that is going to let that happen to you? And he's like, no. And then he laughed. And I was like, there you go. There's some deer running across the street. They're sprinting across the street. That's pretty cool. He was like, no, that wouldn't happen. Because, and I told him, I was like, yes, I am sure of that because I know you and I know you intimately. I know for a fact that you would not let that happen because you have your act together and you're prioritizing important things. So don't be afraid. Take action towards where you want to go. Don't be a coward because by definition, if you have something you want and that you need and you're not going towards it because of fear, you are by definition being a coward. And so I looked at him and I said, do you want to be a coward or do you want to be courageous? And he's like, I want to be courageous. And there you go. That is how life is changed. That is how you change someone's life in one simple conversation. I myself go through this exercise just even a few months ago. I was having a rather stressful day. I was anxious about something. I think it was some financial thing, some big financial expense or whatever. And I was feeling really anxious about it. And I was like, oh, all day, you know the feeling. And then I was like, what is the absolute worst case scenario? And I was like, all right, well, we can't pay this financial thing. Is that bad? No. And then I coached myself a little bit and I was like, okay, is that it? I was like, no, the worst thing that happened is that we lose our house, we lose everything, the car, we lose all of our savings, all of our net worth, and my children die and my wife dies. Some catastrophe strikes our family and my entire family dies. My parents die, or my parents disown me, and I'm left alone. And also I lose my arms and legs, and I can't speak, and I have no capabilities whatsoever. So I took myself through that process. And then the important question, would I make peace with that reality? And so I actually took it a step further and I thought, where would I go? What would I do in that situation? Who would I go to? Whose support would I seek out? And I was like, well, I would probably surround myself with people that understand, that have a similar situation maybe. And well, I would find a way to support other people and to be around others that have gone through something similar, and I would help people. I would come out on top. I would not be a victim of my own demise, and I would make it work. And then through that exercise, I came back to reality, and I thought, I looked at my hands, my arms, I looked at my family, my kids, my environment, my house that is still here, and I said, wow, this is way more than I need to survive and to be happy. Because in the absolute worst case scenario, I would still be happy. I would still hold on to what I believe is true, and that is God, that's my faith. And in the end, the things that truly matter will last, and that is what I would hold on to, even in the absolute worst. So take yourself through that exercise. Guys, we're gonna be going home now to spend time with the family, eat dinner, stuff my face with some protein, as my wife always makes every night for me, just as much protein as she can muster, and I will eat it. I will love my children. Do subscribe and follow. Like this video because it helps more brothers find this stuff. I only do this because I'm trying to create a community of men and actually reach more godly men and show this world that it's possible to live a godly life in this world. And I really do need your support. Genuinely, sincerely, I need the support of as many people as I can to do this, because I'm not satisfied with the men that are out there that we're looking to in our world. I'm not satisfied with the influencers and YouTubers of this world because they're not what I aspire to be. Are they respectable? Yes. Do I want them to succeed? Absolutely. But they don't have the same priorities as me, and they're not people that I personally aspire to be like. I don't think that they prioritize God to the extent that I do, and I'm looking for that, honestly, and it makes me sad sometimes that we don't have it. So if that's you, my friends, I really need your support to create the environment and community where men can get together and build this together, because we are the ones that will survive the oncoming years and decades to come because of our impact, because of our legacy and our lineage. All right, lots of love to you guys. Catch you in the next episode. See you there.
还讲呢？